Let's start with the Mangalacharan, please.
Okay, I'll start with Mangalacharan.
Yeah.
Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utpadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadhutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrinda Vaneshwari Vrishbhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschate Desh Tarine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Gopal Krishna Goswamin Iti Namine Prabhupadasya Sahityam Vyaprakashya Vitiryacha Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Prabhu, you're going to read the entire purport?
No, Mataji.
So you're going to read only the translation?
Yeah, so I will read only the translation and that's all. And you may kindly tell me when my time starts.
You can start now, Prabhu.
My time starts.
Start with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, please.
Yeah, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Welcome to all devotees to this session on Srimad Bhagavatam, Shloka 1.2.6. So let me set the context before we get into this shloka. The context is something like this, that we have to understand that this shloka came because of the inquiries made by Sri Parikshit Maharaj to Sukdev Goswami. So towards the end of
sorry to interrupt you. I've just stopped the time. It is 1.2.6 because you say you have mentioned 2.1.6.
Yeah, sorry, I wrongly mentioned the shloka number. You are correct. Thank you for correcting me, Mataji. It is 2.1.6. So
one second. I will start the recording. Yeah, go on, bro.
Yeah. So shall I repeat Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
or
shall I start?
No, start with the 2.1.6.
Yeah. So before I start into the shloka, I am just setting the context for getting into the shloka. So in the previous canto, that is Canto 1, we have seen that Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukdev Goswami about the way of perfection, right? Specifically for all those persons who are about to die, what they should hear, what they should chant, what they should remember, and what they should worship, and what they should not do. So all these questions and inquiries were very intelligently raised in the towards the end of Canto 1. And now we see in this first chapter of Canto 2, which is titled as, the chapter is titled as the first step in God realization, and the superiority and glory of devotional service is established. And it is also said that this devotional service is the ultimate duty of the human being, and it brings us to the highest perfection of human birth. So in shloka number 2.1.5, Shukdev Goswami mentions that one should hear, glorify, and remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now we are coming to shloka number 1.6. So shloka is Etavan Sankhya Yoga Vyam Sadharma Parinishtaya Janmalava Parapunsam Ante Narayana Smriti. Now, if you go the word by word meaning, we see this etavan. Etavan means all these processes, right? And Sankhya. Sankhya is the complete knowledge of matter and spirit, which is basically same as Gyan Yoga and Yoga Vyam. Yoga Vyam, knowledge of mystic power. So the mystic yogis, they have desire of achieving siddhis and yogic powers. So it refers to that. And Swadharma is the particular occupational duty which is primarily performed by karmis. Then we see the word by word meaning of Janma Lava Para Punsam. So Janma Lava Para Punsam refers to the supreme gain which is available to a person in human form of life. And Ante Narayana Smriti means to remember the supreme personality of God at the time of death. So I read the translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. Now, this Sankhya Yoga or Jnanis, they do philosophical speculation and they do a lot of analysis of the material elements, and which are 24 in number. They in fact count the number of atoms in the material atmosphere, and they do all the structural analysis of atoms. So they are very expert in this material analysis, and it's kind of a materialistic analysis called metaphysics. So, and this practice of mystic powers, the people are busy in doing the yoga practice for years together. And karmis, they are busy working hard, engaging in hard work for fruitive results. However, the beginning of karma yoga to the end of bhakti yoga is a long way for self-realization. Karma yoga without fruitive results is the beginning of this path, which is the path of bhakti yoga, which culminates into the path of bhakti yoga. So, karma yoga without fruitive results is the first step, very neophyte step. And after the karma yoga, it increases in knowledge and renunciation. The stage is called Jnana yoga or Sankhya yoga, which is basically the materialistic analysis, as I mentioned, the system of metaphysics, analysis of whole cosmic manifestation. And they analyze, what do they analyze is the difference, they discriminate between matter and spirit, the spirit. So matter and spirit, they distinguish and they identify these 24 elements, which is called tattva. And when Jnana Yoga increases in meditation on the super soul by different physical process, and the mind is focused on the super soul in the heart, it is called Ashtanga Yoga. We all know the eightfold process like Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. So when one surpasses the stage of Ashtanga Yoga, one comes to the point of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, which is called Bhakti Yoga, and this is the ultimate perfection of the human life. So Narayana Smriti or constant remembrance of the personality of Godhead, as mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in his purport, is basically pointing out that this is only possible by association of a pure devotee. Now we'll explain in detail what does this association of pure devotee means for us. How we are going to associate with a pure devotee, we'll see shortly. And another very significant point pointed out by Srila Prabhupada in his purport is that the highest perfection of human life is Narayana Smriti is for everyone, because everyone wants to feel the highest degree of satisfaction. And for that, everyone must endeavor his best. So we should put our best foot forward in remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead towards the end of life. So it is basically the highest perfection because it gives us the association of the Supreme Lord, and it immediately transfers us to the spiritual world. So in his lecture, Srila Prabhupada gave in Paris in June 14, 1974, on this shloka, Srimad Bhagavatam 2.1.6. Now he mentions that if at the time of death, we forget Narayan, who is Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna, the Supreme Lord, then all Sankhya Yoga philosophy and mystic yoga practice will go in vain. In other words, suppose at the time of death, if I think of my dog, I have a dog and I think of it. In the next life, I'm going to become a dog. So he's so uncompromising and he's so straightforward, Srila Prabhupada. He's so uncompromising in his thought process and he's so straightforward, we can see. Then, suppose if I am the owner of my house and I have too much attachment for it, and my activities are that of a dog, like that of a dog, then definitely in my next life I'll become a dog and I'll do something like bhaw bhaw and all that, right? So he just he dramatizes the whole thing so that we are able to remember these important aspects of remembering or constant remembrance of the Narayan at the time of death. So one should know how to die. And if one dies with Krishna consciousness, that is God consciousness, then his life is successful. So you see, there is a Srimad Bhagavatam shloka, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.8. It points out to us the futility of all non-Krishna conscious activities. I mean, whatever activity which is not related to Krishna, it says that dharma sanushtita punsam vishwaksena kathasuya notapadayadya ratim shramma vahi kevalam. The occupational activities of a man are useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of Vasudeva. So this means that how do we develop the attraction for the message of Vasudeva? Only by hearing and chanting the divine activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we can develop that achievement and attraction for hearing and chanting the message of the Lord. Because why this is required? Because it gives satisfaction. There is no other occupational activity which gives this kind of satisfaction. So it is very important that we give our best to do this. So in Sankhya Yoga, after analysis, suppose if we don't find Narayan, the creator of the material world, then it is useless labor. So futility of all these kind of efforts which are not leading to Narayan or understanding of Narayan is just a useless labor. Our real business is to be liberated from the entanglement of the 24 elements that we are entrapped. We are a spirit soul and our main business is to come out of the entrapment of these 24 elements, which is given by Sankhya analysis, like metaphysical analysis. Now, how to get the interest or affinity for hearing the messages of the Supreme Lord? It is important. As His Grace Janmashtami Prabhuji, he pointed out in this shloka, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.16. Very important shloka and very meaningful shloka for personal application, for preaching application as well. Sushrusho Shraddadhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevana. Now, what does this shloka say? It says that by serving pure devotees of the Supreme Lord, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Now, we have to focus here on two words, very important, very, very important. Sushrusho. What does sushrusho means? It is means two meanings. It has two meanings: inquisitive to hear and inquisitive to serve. Then Shraddha means faith. So these three things, like inquisitive to hear, inquisitive to serve, and faith. So if one does these three things, then what happens? For him, the development of taste happens for hearing Krishna Katha. It becomes very easy to develop that kind of taste. Another thing, another aspect which Srila Prabhupada pointed out in the purport of this same very shloka, he says that by pleasing and satisfying the spiritual master, one becomes eligible to have the taste for Krishna Katha. And the last line of this purport is even more significant. Why? It says, as His Grace Janmashtami Prabhu also pointed out that day when he was taking up this shloka, that the eagerness to hear about the God is the first qualification of a devotee eligibility, of a devotee who is eligible to enter the kingdom of God. So to be able to, or to be qualified to enter the kingdom of God, one must have that eagerness and desire, the interest, the passion to hear about the Lord. Now let us see some examples to illustrate this fact. Now, there is a chemist, understand that there is a chemist and he's analyzing material elements. Like in physics, in laboratory, we all know that there is a lot of analysis of chemical elements. Now, does it mean that they are doing this analysis of chemical elements and they will be liberated at the end of their life? No. Everybody will say no. Second example, let us take, there is a diseased person and he's putting his blood for test to find out the root cause of his infection in the blood. Now, any doctor may analyze that blood report, but that analysis of that blood report will not cure the person. The cure will be totally different. That means he will have to take some medicine based on the symptoms based on his temperature, based on his cough and cold and all. So this another story which Srila Prabhupada illustrates very interestingly in this lecture which he gave in Paris on this shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam 2.1.6. He mentions a very interesting story of a learned scholar and the boatman. So somewhere in Bengal, in Calcutta, the learned scholar was very happy and he was trying to cross the river with the help of a boatman. And it was a sunny morning, and then there was some chit chat amongst them, and then this boatman was asked by this learned scholar that, do you know anything about these stars, astronomy, how they are working? So the poor boatman replied, no, sir, I am an illiterate person, I don't know. Then the boatman emphatically said that your 25% life is lost. Then after some time again, the scholar asked him a second question. Okay, do you know anything about Earth, its working, the water, the geology, the concepts and all that? Again, the boatman said, my dear sir, I am a very poor man and I don't know anything about it. Then again, the scholar said that your 50% life is lost. Now, what happened is after some time, as they were sitting and rowing and the boat was moving on the river, there was a black cloud suddenly and there was a storm. So there was a fear that the boat might get capsized. So then the boatman categorically asked that, sir, do you know how to swim? So then that learned scholar said that, being frightened, of course, because he didn't know how to swim, he said that I don't know how to swim. So then the boatman replied, sir, your 100% life is lost. And what happened is that the boatman, since he knew swimming, he was saved, and the person, the learned scholar, he got drowned and his life was lost. So 100% life lost. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is illustrating. If we are not basically doing any Krishna conscious activity, then what is happening is our life is just a waste of time. We are just, is a useless labor. Another thing is that Sankhya yogis, they analyze critically the material atmosphere, but that does not mean they are aware and they have understood the original creator, right? Who is the original creator, like who created all the 24 elements? Who is the source of all these 24 elements? So one may try to do the analytical study of the material world, but if one does not know how to remember the Supreme Lord at the time of death, then one is going to be cats and dogs. So Srila Prabhupada has been really, I mean, like he has been using the rascal word and he has been so emphatic in his preaching. And then he mentions that we have to be lion when we preach, right? We have to be a lion. So lion means we do not have to be arrogant or we do not have to show our pride. We have to just pass on the point in the right word so that the message gets embedded in the heart of the person. So why we are going to become cats and dogs if we don't remember Narayan at the time of death? The thing is very simple. Srila Prabhupada answers that we are very fond of dog. We keep one dog, right? And then the nature's law is very strong and it is very ruthless. Suppose if we think of a dog at the time of death, we will become a dog in our next life. So that is the nature's law, and that is what Bhagavad Gita 8.6 says. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tvajate ante kale varam. So at the time of death, whatever material, whatever mental situation that we have created in our mind, it will carry us to the next body. So we have to make our mind Krishna conscious and not dog conscious, right? Then at the time of death, we'll be able to remember Krishna and we'll be transferred to the spiritual world. So that way, again, the Janma Labha Parapunsam, the significance here is the supreme gain of a person in human birth. Now, Srila Prabhupada mentions another very important thing, that this human birth has been given us to take a second birth, which is basically the sanskar and the reformatory work. And human birth is given to seek out Guru and Krishna, the spiritual master and Krishna. Animals cannot have Guru, animal cannot search out for Krishna because they can't take the second birth, because it is by only the means of the initiation. So our second mother becomes the Vedas, the scriptures, and our second father becomes the spiritual master. So what happens is, so if we take the privilege of this second birth, that is initiation, that is reformatory process, that is the sanskar ceremony. So we get the initiation, we get the second birth, and that is our prime duty. Or if we have got the human birth, and that is the best form of life that is available in the 84 lakh species of life. Everybody has a mother and father in all the species, but nobody has got a second mother and father, and nobody can even get it even if they try for it. But in the human form of life, it is possible, and it is our prime duty to get a second mother and second father. Our second mother is Vedas and second father is the spiritual master. So, in other words, everyone is dependent for success upon the mercy of the spiritual master and the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And all kinds of spiritual process, be it Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, whatever it may be, whatever you may call it, it all leads to the same path. Culmination is Bhakti Yoga. So unless therefore one comes to the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, all attempts remain imperfect, as it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.10. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udharidhi.
Nice, sir.
Tivrena bhakti yogena yajite purusham param. So whether one is without desire, that means a devotee, or whether he is one of fruitive desires, and one is desiring liberation, one should with all endeavor, all efforts try to worship the Lord, the Supreme Lord, for attaining complete perfection. So this complete perfection means what? It means association of the Lord and going back home, back to God. And this is where we need the mercy, because by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, by the mercy of the spiritual master, impossible becomes possible, difficult becomes easy. It is difficult, but we have the mercy, it becomes easy. So preaching application, now let us check it out. Why we are suffering, right? Why we are suffering in this material world? We are the soul within this body, and we are not this body. That is what Srila Prabhupada mentions in each and every lecture. The majority of the lectures, the focus is to make us aware that we should forget that we are this body. We should remember that we are the spirit soul. We are part and parcel of Krishna, and we have forgotten Krishna, and that is why we are suffering, and we are rotting in this material world. So as soon as we realize this, we will understand that to preach the Krishna consciousness movement to others is the greatest service. Is the greatest service which is likable to God and likable to the spiritual master. So therefore, the movement is to revive the Krishna consciousness and to go back home, back to Godhead. So it is the Krishna consciousness movement is nothing but Ante Narayana Smriti. And by being Krishna conscious, one will be able to remember Krishna at the time of death, and our life, human form of life, will be properly utilized. In this connection, there are multiple examples which have been given in the Srimad Bhagavatam, like Khatwanga Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj. They were fortunate because they came to know how much time they had before death. Right? Khatwanga Maharaj, he had just a moment longer, and when he realized that he's in the heavenly kingdom, which is full of the highest standard of sensual gratification, he just left that kingdom and took shelter of the Supreme Lord. Parikshit Maharaj, we are already aware that he renounced his kingdom, all his material attachments, and he totally absorbed himself in hearing, chanting, and remembering the Supreme Lord with the help of Shukdev Goswami. But we conditioned souls, we don't even know how much time we have got left in this material world. So if we don't die like these devotees left their bodies, then we are going to die an animal's death. So an intelligent person would feel the urgency of discharging bhakti or devotional service, service to the Supreme Lord. So that is what? Hearing, chanting, remembering, and worshipping the Supreme Lord. So why is it important to remember Narayan at the time of death? Now let us take a look at this. There are so many points like why it is important. So first, I am establishing the importance, then I will go on to the how. So Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.58, Padam Padam Yad Viddam Natesham. So in material world, at every step, there is a danger, there are anxieties, there are materialistic miseries. So that is said by Krishna. So that is why it is truth. In another shloka in Bhagavad Gita 8.15, it says, Dukhalayam ashashwatam. You do not take this material existence to be a comfortable place. So the moment we realize this material existence to be comfortable spiritually, we are going to have a fall down. We will not be able to make progress. And Srila Prabhupada, in one of his lectures, he mentions this material place is the material world. The material existence is not a place for an intelligent person, right? And for a gentleman per se. So we identify ourselves as a body and are attached to it, right? And we are suppose we are driving in a car and there is an accident. Very, very beautiful example and illustrated by Srila Prabhupada in one of his lectures, that we are attached to this body and we suffer. Now he gives an example of a car. I am driving my car and I am attached to my car. Somebody hits my car without my mistake. Then what happens is I suffer if I am attached to the car. Oh, he hit my car. He bruised my car. My car has been hurt. I am hurt, but I am not this car. So let me understand, if I attach myself too much to my car, then I consider myself as cars. Similarly, if we attach too much with our bodies, then we suffer. we suffer heavily. So we have to consider the words of Srila Prabhupada as words carved in stone. We are not these bodies. We are soul. We are part and parcel of Krishna, and our prime duty is to serve the Supreme Lord. So if suppose, let us take the other way around. Suppose if somebody my car had met an accident and somebody hit my car, and I think that okay, it is okay. I am not this car. If the car can be repaired easily in a workshop, so what happens? He might be thinking something, or he might be taking up a mobile and talking, and then his attention might have got diverted, and that is why he hit the car. It's okay. It happens. It happens. But here the identification of ourselves with the car and identification of ourselves with the body is important to understand why we are suffering. Now, apart from the death, birth, old age, and disease, there are three more type of sufferings. Adhyatmic, like suppose if we have a body ache, headache, right, mental depression. Adi bhautik sufferings are there. We are walking on a road and suddenly a dog bites us for nothing, right? He just came and he just bit. And then again, I have to go to doctor to get the painful anti-rabies injection. And mosquitoes are biting day in and day out. Now the mosquitoes are live the 24 hours. Earlier, the mosquitoes used to bite only at night and in the evening. But now I see mosquitoes have become so immune that they know that these conditioned souls have to be punished because they are coming from the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. So, and Adhyatmic, like there is excessive heat, excessive cold, there is drought, and suppose there the rain is there, so there are flooding is there, and so many things. So now what to do? How to remember Narayana or the Supreme Lord at the time of death? That is very important. So I again emphasize the same thing, that remember that by the mercy of the Lord and a spiritual master, difficult becomes easy and impossible becomes possible. Now what is to be done for that? First, constant practice. Practice of what? Hearing, chanting, remembering, and worshipping the Lord. And then worshipping means what? Worshipping means offering to the deity of Lord Krishna or Lord Narayan a flower, a fruit, and then our respect in form of humble obeisances, right? Association with pure devotees, as I mentioned, Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, a very significant point. What does association with pure devotees mean? So for this, I would like to quote a shloka from Bhagavad Gita 4.34. Tadviddi pratipade, tadviddi pranipatena, परिप्रश्नेन सेवया upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvdarshina. What is this? It says that we have to consider the spiritual master as superior. We have to surrender to him to get the transcendental knowledge. We have to surrender. And what does that surrender will lead? It will establish us on the transcendental platform. And so we hear from them, we serve them, and we submissively make inquiries, like it is mentioned, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. I mean, Athato Brahma Jigyasa means a person who is making inquiries. He is going to advance his spiritual. So inquiries, submissive inquiries means in a mood of obeying the instructions of spiritual master. So association with pure devotees doesn't only mean that you take prasadam with them, right? Sometimes devotees, they have this concept that, okay, I am eating prasad with a fellow devotee, so I am associating with pure devotees. It is something else. It's got a higher meaning, and which Bhagavad Gita 4.34 illustrates. Now tolerate all the impediments and chant vigorously. Chant vigorously and constantly without any offenses, this Mahamantra. So to get Krishna's mercy, we have to put in our best foot forward. We have to endeavor our best. That is what is mentioned in the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam Shloka 2.1.6 by Srila Prabhupada. So even if a devotee is not able to remember Krishna at the time of death, Krishna does not forget his devotee. Why? Because the devotee is always hearing and chanting. Krishna is taking notes. He will enter the mind of the devotee at the time of death. So another way to remember, very easy, how to remember Krishna at the time of death. Beautiful shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.22. Nama pankaj nabhaya, nama pankaj maline, nama pankaj netraya, namaste pankaj jangre. So Krishna loves lotus flower very much. He is garlanded with a garland of lotus flowers. His navel has a depression like a lotus flower. His lotus feet, his lotus eyes. So, like, suppose it is very easy to love Krishna, because if you love Krishna, it becomes easy to remember him. Like, suppose we love our child, and his cloth, his chair, his study table, or his playthings, or his notebook is lying somewhere. So, whenever we see those things, we immediately remember our child. So, similarly, if we see the lotus flower, we immediately remember Krishna. Why? because the lotus flower resembles the navel of Lord Krishna. So again, the importance is, if you love Krishna, you remember him, becomes very easy. So that is the point. And Krishna describes himself in the Bhagavad Gita in 7.8, Bhagavad Gita 7.8, what it says, Rasoham apsu kaunteya, taste of water, right? Everybody drink water many times a day. So I am the taste of water. So whenever we are taking water, we just have to remember that Krishna is its taste. So we remember Krishna by drinking water. So it becomes so easy. And Rup Goswami in the 13th chapter of Nectar of Devotion, he mentions that there are 5 potent forms of devotional service, which we can basically do to advance, like residing in Mathura, worshipping the deity of the Lord, hearing Bhagavatam, serving a devotee, and chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Lastly, in Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapsam Sarvalokam Maheshram Suharda Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati. What it says? It says that if we understand the Supreme Lord as a supreme enjoyer, supreme proprietor, and the most intimate, well-wishing friend of all living entities, then it becomes very easy to become Krishna consciousness. Very easy to become Krishna conscious. Now, Srila Prabhupada mission, he was teaching the whole world Krishna consciousness, how to remember Narayana at the time of death by his mercy. We got examples of Bhishma Dev, Khatmanga Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, Madhavendra Puri, Haridas Thakur, and recently His Grace Pankaj Angri Prabhuji. He taught the hotline number of the Supreme Lord, which is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He presented the Supreme Lord with his father's name, mother's name, and address. Where? In Shloka number Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.21. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Nama. So he presented the Lord, Krishna's father, Krishna's mother, Krishna's address. Everything he has given. Srila Prabhupada is so merciful to all the conditioned souls like us. Srila Prabhupada mood and mission is related to this. Like Srila Prabhupada's heart was always full of compassion for the conditioned souls and determination to follow the instructions of his spiritual master. Why? Srila Prabhupada was determined to spread the message of Lord Chaitanya to even remote places like Paris, right? It is a Western country, not very English speaking, such a difficult country, right? Such an advanced country, nothing to do with Krishna, right? But still, Srila Prabhupada took the pain to go there, and he did the lecture of this shloka in Paris in 1974. So he was totally convinced that the power of the holy name will transform the impious life of these Western people who are always busy in doing the sinful activities, all types. So personal application, what I do for this shloka is every day I attentively hear Srimad Bhagavatam lecture. Whatever I hear, I make notes and share the interesting pastimes of the Lord with my wife, my parents, and the Monday Ashra class devotees. This way I hear, contemplate, and glorify the Lord. And whenever I have a problem or suffer due to body, mind, or family, or anything else, I chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as per the advice of His Holiness Bhakti Vigna Vinashak Maharaj. He told me when Ashwathama threw the Brahmastra at Arjun asked, he came into the shelter of the Lord, what is to be done? And similarly, I asked His Holiness Bhakti Vigna Vinashak Maharaj, he told me, you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So I am very, very well grateful to him. And Maharaj advised the points, the best possible preparation for the final examination, which is death. He's told us to meditate on Krishna's pastimes and reflect on our contributions and the service that we have rendered for pleasing the Lord and the spiritual master. So we have to absorb ourselves fully in devotional service. Do not waste a single moment. Absorb completely 100% every moment in Krishna consciousness. And if we get sick towards the end of our life, what we have to do? We have to go to the holy places like Vrindavan, Mayapur, and invite devotees. They will do kirtan, read scriptures, and they will make us remember the Lord at the time of death. So study of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita given us by Srila Prabhupada gives us something to remember at the time of death. And when I'm unable to tolerate the suffering, I mentally go to the temple deities and I say and beg for forgiveness that I have done so many uncountable misdeeds. And I humbly pray for the strength so that I can tolerate the suffering. So His Grace Srivas Prabhuji gave us 34 Srimad Bhagavatam shlokas related to remembering the Supreme Lord at the time of death. So many wonderful shlokas from 10th canto and so on. And due to the kind advice and blessings of His Grace Janmashtami Prabhuji, I attended the Japa retreat session conducted by His Grace Mahatma Prabhuji, a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and I make it a point to daily read at least one affirmation from the Japa affirmations book to improve the quality of my chanting. So to summarize in a nutshell, Through the Srimad Bhagavatam Shloka 2.1.6, the Supreme Lord is reinforcing the assurance made by him in Bhagavad Gita 8.5. What is he saying? Antikale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samad bhavam yati nasti astra sanshaya. So there is no sanshaya. Sanshaya means there is no doubt you will come to me if you remember me at the end of life. There is no doubt. So to successfully achieve the objective of life, which is the constant remembrance of the Lord, Ante Narayana Smriti, we should chant attentively without offenses, preach vigorously, associate with Hare Krishna devotees, pray to the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord, so that we develop the greatest desire. What is the greatest desire? To have no desire except pleasing the Supreme Lord. In other words, we need to follow Krishna's advice in Bhagavad Gita 18.65, Man mana bhavmat bhakto madhya jimam namaskuru. What he says, you always think of me. Okay, if you cannot think of me, you become my devotee. Okay, if you do not become my devotee, then worship me. Okay, if you do not worship me, okay, at least pay humble obeisances to me. So Krishna is giving innumerable options to us, easy options. To just offer Dandvat Pranams to the deity, we will advance in our spiritual life. And we will go back home, back to Goddess. So most respectfully, most sincerely, and most humbly, I pray unto the lotus feet of all devotees. So kindly, I pray to the lotus feet of all these devotees are present here, so that I can do the best possible preparation for the final exam. That is Ante Narayana Smriti. Hare Krishna, Vancha Kalpatru Veshcha, Kripa Sindhu Vevacha, Patita Nam Pavnibhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo. Now, I most respectfully and most humbly request for any questions or comments.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Mataji.
That was a nice presentation. Prabhu, I would like to know about the Karmi, Jnani, and Yogis. How can they get the Narayana Smriti?
You see, Karmis, Jnanis, and Yogis, they can get Narayana Smriti only if they get the blessings and mercy of the spiritual master or pure devotee. Because in the purport, it is mentioned by Srila Prabhupada that all these line of workings or operation in advancement of devotional service is only possible by the association of the pure devotees of the Lord, by their mercy, by their blessings.
Thank you, Prabhu. The other hands raised, do you need to call out?
Yeah, Rajshekhar Prabhuji, please, thank you very much for asking questions. Rajshekhar Prabhuji, please bless me and ask your question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Dandvat Pranams Prabhuji.
Very nice presentation. I got one question to ask Prabhuji, if you kindly permit me.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Prabhuji, can Prasadam help in Ante Narayana Smriti?
Pardon?
Can the Prasadam help in Ante Narayana Smriti? Prasadam.
You see, anything which is related with the Lord Krishna, right? Whether it is a prasadam, whether it is a DT picture, whether it is a kirtan, whether it is a reading of scriptures, anything related to Krishna. Prasad is related to Krishna. Yes, it will help. It will help.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Welcome, Prabhuji. Then we have Vinay Damodar Prabhuji. Please give me your mercy and blessings, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Very
Krishna.
nice, very nice lecture, Prabhu. Prabhu, you at the last you were saying that Krishna very mercifully say, if don't become, we can't become, remember me, then become devotee, and at the last you said, you just pay obeisances and your life will be successful. So, Prabhu, I have heard many times that just by paying obeisances to the Lord, we can get successful. But how the just paying obeisance work, Prabhu?
You see, like Mataji also asked, and now you are also asking. Mataji asked about how the karmis, jnanis, and these yogis, they can advance in bhakti, because the happening is that it happens this way, that you see, to get association of Krishna in the spiritual world, it is not possible just by our endeavor. We have to give our best endeavor, and then the mercy of the spiritual master and the Lord is required. Without that, it is not possible. So Lord will be merciful when we put in our best. So if we say, like beginners, like if a child goes to nursery, he is taught ABCD. He will not be taught sentence construction. He'll be asked that, okay, you practice the alphabet first. So when he masters the 26 alphabets, then he'll be asked to prepare words and write sentences. So similarly, in devotional service, like there are 64 branches of devotional service as mentioned by Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion. Now what they say that, okay, you practice 5. Now in those 5 also you practice at least 1. So now the thing is that if you are not, I mean, any devotional activity which is related to Krishna is auspicious for us. And Krishna says that whatever you do for my devotional service is never gets destroyed. It is always protected. If I am a crorepati and if I am a millionaire in this life, and if I die, my bank balance becomes 0. But if I have chanted 16 rounds in this life, and if I die, then next life I will begin my chanting rounds from 17 or 18. So I don't have to start from 0 chanting rounds. So that means that there is no debit account in devotional service. If I have offered obeisances, definitely it is the first step of advancement. Then as I offer obeisances, I will feel like to do chanting, because I will see in the temple so many people with the beads and they are so happy. Their face is shining and they are having the effulgence, right? Because of selflessness, their faces are so bright and so happy. So we get attracted. So we know that, okay, we try to inquire from them the process, like how to do the chanting, where are the beads, where to get the beads from, which is the first mantra. So it is a starting point. So starting point means at least to make a beginning. So that is what Krishna says, at least to make a beginning by offering obeisances to me, and later I will give you tesham satata yuktanam bhajtam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Bhagavad Gita 10.10. So if we follow Bhagavad Gita 10.10, we don't have to worry, we have to just start.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Wonderful answer, Prabhu. Thanks a lot. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam, Prabhu.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhu. Yes, Srinam Nitai Prabhuji, please give me some blessings and mercy.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam, Prabhu.
Dandavat pranam,
Prabhu, I have one misunderstanding. It says that Ante Narayana Smriti, but why it is not said as Ante Krishna Smriti? Because Krishna is the supreme, and Narayana is a part of his expansion.
Yeah. You see, actually, if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, all these manifestations, incarnations, the exact like how the types of Vishnu, all these things is coming, right? So Narayan basically is emphasizing the supreme personality of Godhead, whether you call it Narayan, whether you call it Krishna, whether you call it Vishnu. We call him by names, like Vishnu or Krishna has many names. So whatever name it appeals to you, you can call him by that name. Like Ajamil called the Supreme Lord by the name of Narayan. Vishnu came immediately, right? He didn't call Krishna because he was calling his son. So, but you see what happens is Narayan is so merciful. He's so merciful. Whenever you call your child named Narayana, he feels that somebody is calling him. So what to say of Narayan, Krishna, Vishnu? They are all his names. So he's so merciful that if my son's name is Narayan, I'm calling Narayan, please come here. So Krishna sitting in Golok Vrindavan, he will feel that, okay, I am calling, he'll come. That is the mercy, and that is the unparalleled mercy and unbelievable, ununderstandable mercy of the Supreme Lord. We have to understand through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual master.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Veer Gopal Prabhuji, please give me some blessings, please.
My pronounced Prabhuji, thank you so much for an amazing presentation. Prabhuji, I wanted to elucidate or seek your elucidation on the aspect of Agyata Sukriti, that's one.
Okay.
And then the second aspect, that Krishna is not bound by anyone. He is free agent. And I suppose the point I'm trying to find out more about is that by following devotional service, is it absolute that one will get to him, or does it still have an element of Krishna's free will? Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, I will answer your first question regarding Agyat Sukriti, and then I will request you to ask the second question again to have a better understanding so that I can respond appropriately.
Sure, Prabhuji.
I first answer Agyat Sukriti. So Agyat Sukriti is something that unknowingly we bring somebody, like we say, like somebody is very much interested in visiting places, right? He's not interested in Krishna in temple, but we'll say that, okay, you see the robotic show, you see the IMAX theater film and all these things, the technology will attract him by technology and will attract him by prasad. You come and you have prasad, you will be hungry. come down to Govinda's, very tasty food. Pizza is there, dosa is there, and dhokla is there, samosa kachori is there. We try to just bring him to temple by way of something which he can get lured. So when he gets lured, he takes prasad, he has the DT darshan, he takes charnamrit, he does the parikrama, and he offers some offering and something like that. So unknowingly, he's developing that spiritual piety or the agyat sukriti. And what happens is that the agyat sukriti or the spiritual piety also remains in the credit account, never it gets debited. So one day or the other, he will get the mercy of the pure devotee and he will advance in devotional service, pure devotional service, and then reach Krishna. But that may take one birth or multiple births. That is up to the mercy and the will of the Supreme Lord. So that is something which we cannot predict, but definitely the Agyat Sukriti is something that a spiritual piety is being given unknowingly. So that answer the first question to you? And now I request, if that answers, then I request you to ask the second question, please, once again.
Yes, thank you so much. It does make sense. And I think it's a wider sort of subject matter, Agyata Sukriti, as far as I've understood it. But thank you so much for sharing. So the second part of the question was that whilst we can perform all the bhakti and everything, is it absolute must, without any question, that Krishna, we will be able to return back to him, or be granted the boon of being his servant? And if that is the case, then would this not contradict to some extent Krishna's free will and desire? Because Queen Kunti is praying to Krishna that she doesn't understand him. Ashvatthama is releasing the Brahmastra, and Krishna is residing in the heart of Ashvatthama, and Krishna is trying to protect the Pandavas at the same time. Now, this is Queen Kunti's prayer to Lord Krishna. So what I'm probably wanting to hear from you, if possible, is your thoughts on this. That is Krishna definitely bound by this, or how does it work?
First of all, I would say that you are very intelligent and you have asked such a wonderful question. So I will make an attempt, and I pray to the spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada so that I can answer. I'll make an attempt, and if I fail, I will request His Grace Janmashtami Prabhu to help me. But let me give it an attempt. So you see, your question is that Krishna is bound or not bound by devotional service. That is what I understood. I will try to answer that. We have the Damodar Leela, right? And Mother Yashoda bound Krishna. But every time she was trying to bind Krishna with the ropes, the ropes were getting short. So then the acharyas, they mentioned that what is the secret, why the ropes were getting short, and then ultimately the Lord got tied. But Lord had got free will. He didn't want to get tied, so he can decide on his own. But he got tied, and he felt, because he showed his mercy, because Mother Yashoda was doing a lot of effort. He could see, Lord could see that she was sweating, and she was trying to bind him out of pure love. So if we, in pure love, pure devotion, we put the best foot forward, we give the best endeavor, then Krishna will get bound. That is what Krishna says. That if you give, and that is what Srila Prabhupada says in the purport of 2.1.6 Ante Narayana Smriti, that if you put in the best effort, then you will have Krishna's mercy, and then Krishna's mercy will come in the form of that he will get himself bound. And that is why the devotional service is not easy. Everybody cannot attain to it, because Krishna doesn't want to get bound. But if you put the best endeavor, if you love Krishna, if you have the mercy of spiritual master, and if you have so in Hindi they say that prayas and kripa. So we have to have the best prayas, we have to have the best effort, and we have to get the best mercy. So that way, if any inadequacy in the answer, kindly forgive me. And if His Grace Janmashtami Prabhu wants to add something on this.
Your time's up. You're going beyond time, actually.
Okay, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very nice.
Okay, Prabhu's time's up. So let us all fill the feedback forms. I request everybody to fill the feedback forms. Mahavira, Rupa Prabhu, could you please request for feedback?
Yeah, Vancha Kalpatruvesha, Kripa Sindhu Vevacha, Patitanam Pavnebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namaha. I request most respectfully and most humbly, I request for your kind feedback and suggestions so that I can make a tangible improvement in my presentations. Thank you.
Any two of you can raise hands.
Yeah, Vinay Damodar Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. You have very wonderful presentation. So you very nicely mentioned the slokas from various sastra, and their meaning were given, and their link to this sloka was given. And Prabhupada mood was very nicely presented, and personal, and this preaching application was also was there. And the way you answer the questions and the flow of your presentation, everything shows that how surrender you are to Srila Prabhupada movement, and how much you want just to give the message of Srila Prabhupada whenever you get the opportunity. So it was not like you are giving presentation, it was like that you are trying to use this opportunity so that Falun so like me can get something to my devotional life. So thank you very much, Prabhu. Not any, I mean, it's very difficult for, it was very difficult for me to find any scope for improvement. It's maybe I feel that if speed is a little bit less, then can be more relevant, but it could be only my personal perception. It's not necessary, but that's what I could understand.
So speed, you said that it should be slower or faster?
Please refrain to reciprocate.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Please go on, Vinay Prabhu.
So in the overall, it was really very nice, very wonderful, and it's really beneficial for my spiritual life, I will say. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Vinay Prabhu. I request one more person to give a feedback. I request one more person, or else I have to call out names. Shivas Pandit Prabhu, please go on.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you
Prabhu.
for your Hare Krishna. Thank you for your nice lecture. Your I like the preparation of your lecture. And nicely flow of lecture was also very nice. And so the only point which I is the same thing what Prabhu said, that little slow and little slow and highlight the points, so it will be easy to digest for us also, and take home message will be better. But overall, it was very nice, and very nice in answering the questions. And your the mood in which you are answering that also shows that you are how seriously you have taken the subject matter, and how seriously you value the Ante Narayana Smriti. Thank you for choosing this verse. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Mahavir Prabhu, there is feedback in the chat box. Please read.
Yeah, Mani Gopal Prabhuji has given a very good presentation. Mahavir, Rupa Prabhu, lot of verses and references. Pace of speech could be little slower. Overall, very good. Thank you, His Grace Mani Gopal Prabhuji. Murari Prabhuji is writing very nice and feelingly realized knowledge. Thank you, Murari Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Veer Gopal Prabhuji, thank you so much. Most indebted. I was in ecstasy. Thank you, Veer Gopal Prabhuji, very, very much. Amla Manjari Mataji, thank you so much, Prabhu. Very inspiring dedication and conviction. Please bless that I can have an atom of your commitment and humility. Thank you, Amla Manjari Mataji.
You're not supposed to reciprocate for the feedback now.
Okay.
Still, the feedback is not over. So reciprocation is done finally.
I am sorry, Mataji. I'll take care.
Yeah. So Mahavir Rupa Prabhu, that was a very self-confident presentation given by you. Thanks for that self-confident presentation. You started with a very nice overview, and then you went to the word-to-word meaning. And the things that were striking were you were quoting verses, and you were also highlighting the Sanskrit meaning of the verse and certain words, and you were also just elaborating on how that is relevant to the verse that you're speaking with. And other than that, you covered the points that were given in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, though you didn't read the purport. And you mentioned that death and Krishna conscious will make one's life successful. And also you mentioned that the mercy of the spiritual master will make the impossible become possible. And you just went on with so many points and so many examples that were given in with relevance to the purport. And you were also emphasizing on Narayana Smriti and the association of devotees, and Srila Prabhupada's emphasis on that it is for everybody and it has to be freely distributed so that everybody gets the association and becomes Krishna conscious. Your personal application was very touching, where you were practicing what you were saying, and you were mentioning that you make it as an affirmation to read and to go on with all that. And also you quoted many examples and the boat story where you were mentioning that the 100% life is wasted. So what is important, you correlated with the verse saying that you need to be Krishna conscious or else the entire life becomes waste. And for the room for improvement with regard to your presentation skills, you're closing your eyes most of the time, you're not seeing what's happening in the screen. So the eye contact I felt was missing. And with regard to the pace, you were slower than normal sometimes, means you were not in pace, you were going slower sometimes, and sometimes you're going more fast. So if you could maintain a level of speed, that would have been best. And also with regard to the slokas, you were mentioning quoting so many slokas. This is a repetition which I keep telling for all the devotees. What is required? That much if you give, because it's only 30 minutes, we all know the time frame, and within 30 minutes, if you see Srila Prabhupada's lectures, if you hear, Srila Prabhupada was very to the point for that 30 minutes. He doesn't overboard. If you give too much on the plate, it becomes very difficult for the audience to take it. And I'll just try to give an example because I'm telling this again and again and again, and many of you are missing this core point. There was a preacher who had to preach, and then he just came there and it was raining, so everybody left there, nobody was there. Only the person who brought him in the cart, the horseman, he was there, and this preacher was paid. So for giving it, he was preparing it to give it for 300 people. All that he gave it for this horseman. Means he gave everything, he spitted everything, he just went on with whatever points he has to say. And by the end of it, the horseman said, I thought you are intelligent, but you're foolish. Why? Because for a horse, how much the horse needs food, that much only you should give. You cannot give food that is more than necessary. And only I am here, you gave so much, I cannot even take it. That's overboard. So I'm just maybe I'm putting it in a very harsh way, but the point to put across is please give the points that's necessary. And even slokas, because here all of them are great scholars, they're all great souls, they'll not mind it. Why I have to say this is when you go out and when you're going to give a lecture or a preaching class, then you have to be very careful of how you're going to go about. So please take that into consideration. It is a kind request. And other than that, I found that you were giving practical steps. You were concluding very well enough, saying how to remember Krishna. But I was just thinking it's going to finish, but then you just went overboard again. You just went on with the points. But you came off with all the points that mentioned that everybody should remember Krishna and always remember Krishna. That was very wonderful. I'm looking forward to your future presentation. Would you like to reciprocate for the feedback?
Yes, thank you very much, Mataji. I really appreciate your feedback, and I am very grateful to you for this feedback because this is very important for my improvement. And the points that you mentioned, I would like definitely focus on them, primarily on like the eye contact was missing. The second was the pace was sometimes slow, sometimes fast. So pace should be the normal pace should be maintained, like it should not change so vigorously. And thirdly, you mentioned that I should not overfeed the audience, because definitely when I overfeed, then perhaps they might miss out on the main message. So it is to be seen from my own side. I have to take initiative. I have to take precaution that I don't overfeed the audience. I give only that much which is required.
Thank you, Mahavir Rupa Prabhu. There is also other feedback given to you. I think you read already Amala Manjari Mataji's. Jai Radhe Mataji has given Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class and for your strong conviction in Krishna consciousness. You were able to relay this to me as a listener and in waking me up from the slumber of Maya and to take Krishna's service seriously. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks to everybody for your wonderful feedback and for your presence.
Thank you very much, Jai Radhe Mataji. Thank you to all the devotees for patiently giving me an opportunity. And I will definitely work on my areas of improvement and do a better job next time. Thank you very much.